Hi, you guys. It's Mr. Farron here, and Rain the Wonder Dog is down here listening in. I don't know if you can see her. There she is. Say hi, Rain. He's trying to see how things are going, I guess. And so, hey, you guys all thought about it and figured this out. I was very impressed with this. So it was the magic salsa packet, and a lot of you figured out that it's, as I squeeze it, but I hid that I was squeezing it. As I squeeze it, I'm raising the pressure inside. But here's how it really works. It's somewhat related to Boyle's law, and I'm a scuba diver. Do you know that liquid doesn't really compress much? That's why in diesel engines, where they have a combustion engine and the cylinder comes down, explodes, goes back up, you can't get water in a diesel engine. It's such high compression that it'll break and destroy a diesel engine. So on my old diesel pickup, I regularly drain any water that's come into the system. And on other engines, the gas doesn't compress as much, and it's not that big a deal. But water doesn't compress. Liquid doesn't compress. So people like me can scuba dive to great depths, and as you go in the water, the pressure of the water on top of you is really heavy and really powerful. Well, the salsa packet I got is one that almost floats, but it has a tiny bit of air in there evidently, so that when I compress and add pressure in here, the little bit of air that's inside of the packet gets smaller. Liquid doesn't compress. It just, stays the way it is. But the air in our lungs when we're scuba diving compresses. That's why we have to make sure we don't hold our breath. Do you know that? When we're coming up, if our tank as a scuba diver gets empty, you can't hold your breath. If you hold your breath, your lungs literally explode because the air is expanding. All kinds of weird things that go on in gases. And part of what we've learned is that there are small invisible things called molecules and atoms and things that work here. So that's why this works the way it works, okay? And so I've asked you for your homework to be using, remember, one part of your notebooks are for you to write your ideas and things about the homework that we're studying and questing and thinking about. The other part of your homework is for you to look for big, important, cool questions that you want to understand. I keep salting that, the ideas. There's some interesting ideas like, what happens when we flush the toilet? Where does all that go? How do we take care of that stuff in a city? Where does the garbage go when the garbage man comes, and how does that work? How do they do the recycling that they do? I'm going to probably tell us about recycling. What do bees do in the wintertime? What do ants do in the wintertime? Where are all the hummingbirds? What do they do? Because that's different for each one of them. And so we've talked a bit about leaves and why and how they turn colors. Remember, there were three big things, three reasons that the colors change and get brilliant or more brilliant. One is how the temperature was during that time of the fall, or is, how cold it is, how much sun there is out there, because it dries things out of the inside of the leaves, and how much moisture there is from rain and or humidity of fog or whatnot. Those three things together add up to how brilliant, how colorful the leaves become. But what we're really seeing is the chloroblasts, which are the little cells. We've seen pictures of them moving, that are green, and the chlorophyll inside cells that take sunlight and turn that energy into sugar, which runs the whole tree. In my front yard, I have a maple tree, so if you've had pancakes or waffles with maple syrup, that's the sap of the maple tree. We just boil it down and reduce it down so it's more concentrated and really sharp, really cool, really sweet. By the way, I had a job at the orange juice factory one time, but they said, I got fired. They said I couldn't concentrate. See, it's a joke because it's concentrated orange juice. Now, I'd like you to keep looking for, and I want to see things you want to understand and study. And you're already starting to do that, but I want to see more of that. Because this coming Friday is Halloween. And on Halloween, they don't have us do our thing. because you guys are doing something else. Maybe it's the parade or whatever you do of costumes. And so this coming Friday, the day that I'm doing this is Tuesday the 29th of October. This Friday there will be no session with us. Don't bring your bags, don't bring your notebooks. But the next week, bring them. So we're not getting together as much as I'd like lately. But that'll all change for the rest of the year after that, just about. Now, there's the next thing I want you to think about. What I've got right here is a Frisbee. It's a Frisbee, I don't know why I have it, the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Frisbee. How do Frisbees fly? I know that Mrs. Farron has started talking with you and showing you some things about gravity. And in fact, the stuff she showed you is about not just about gravity, but it's about the pressure of air on top of us. I'm going to show us a little bit about air pressure. I'm going to ask us to think about how we fly. We're flying through an invisible medium, an invisible thing called air. But air is not empty. It has molecules of oxygen and things. Now, you and I talked about and demonstrated that some things float, some things don't float. It's because of the density of the molecules that are in there, even though they look the same. So we put a can of soda in water, and it had regular sugar. Boom, it didn't float. It just sank to the bottom. Then we put diet soda, same can, same size, same weight, it feels like almost, but it floated. That's because all that sugar's not in there. They haven't poured in tons of sugar that gets dissolved in that. So it is lighter. And then we took a can of Jumex, sort of it's 20% fruit juice. Fruit juice has some sugar, but it also has the fiber, and fiber holds in air that works on our digestive tract. It's good. And that one, we didn't know. Was it going to float, or is it going to... Well, it floated. What we learn is there's a lot of hidden stuff in our food, and we don't need too much sugar. There's a lot in that, amongst other things. So now, I'm going to close with this. How do things fly? How does a Frisbee fly? I'm going to teach you about some things, and I want you to be thinking about it. I'm a pilot, by the way. We're going to be looking at what makes an airfoil work. Why does the principle that is called Bernoulli's principle work? What is it that makes things that are heavier than air able to fly? And why is it that Frisbees can fly? And someone gave me a cow chip Frisbee, so this is supposed to look like a cow manure Frisbee. So we just wanted you to see that. So be thinking about anything you want to know about flight and sort of things related to gravity and other things, because that's what we're going to do when we're together next. Be thinking about airplanes and rockets and flight and gravity, and I'll be talking about the atmosphere and pressure a little bit too. And then after that, because snow's coming, we'll spend a little more time on snow and ice and snowflakes. So remember, this is not just a hat rack. You need to think and ask big questions. Now, I've been in Texas, I've been in St. Louis, I've been all over the country the last couple of weeks doing conferences and collecting some of my research. So sorry we haven't been together. And now we won't be together again this Friday for Halloween. But we'll be together the next Friday, all right? And so be thinking and be looking. And I'm going to have a cool demonstration about Bernoulli's principle. I'm going to give us a couple of demonstrations for us to deal, so that we see how things fly. Is anybody going to fly anywhere for Christmas or Thanksgiving? Someone going to fly to us? We'll learn about that. You guys keep thinking. Keep asking big questions. Keep putting things in your notebooks to bring, and maybe you'll do a mini presentation about that, and we can all decide we want to study more about that, all right? And now here's a couple of Halloween jokes. So what does the ghosts at Halloween eat before they go out? Spook Eddie. Why does a witch wear a pointed hat? To keep her head warm. All right, that's good enough. We'll see you guys soon. You take care.